Pretty much.
Hello, welcome back to a late in the week edition of the MMA Split Pick Show for the massive UFC 274 card, headlined by Charles Oliveira taking on the former interim champion, the highlights himself, Justin Gaethje. Certainly not the only title up for grabs. We've got Rose Namajunas defending her strawweight title against the woman who beat her in her first ever title shot way back when in 2014, Carla Esparza. Plenty of other great fights on the card, lots of talking points. Massive card. I think they've got like 15 fights in total. So always a chance one drops off between now and fight night. The weigh-ins have mostly happened, but a couple of people still waiting to weigh in as it creeps into the last half an hour. So we shall see. But with plenty of fights to get to, we must start with the main event. The reason that we're here, it's the big one. It's the man. It's the toughest division. It's the lightweight title. It's Charles Oliveira. He's proven everything he needs to prove so far, in my opinion. He's done a fantastic job doing so. And he's taking on an absolute killer in Justin Gaethje. A lot of people billing this as a striker versus grappler matchup. I think it is anything but that. Josh, what's your thoughts straight away? Feelings about the fight, excitement level, and what skills both guys are bringing to the table?
Excitement level 100. This is just about as fun as MMA gets. Oliveira, scrappy, aggressive, just fight-loving MMA hero who can finish it anywhere against Justin Gaethje, the human car crash. There's no way it's not exciting. Gaethje has been part of the most violent, exciting fights this weight division has ever known. Charles Oliveira, the most prolific submission artist the UFC has ever known, who also a hell of a stand-up fighter. Not well suited to Gaethje's skill set as a stand-up guy. I don't think it matters. I mean, alright.
I will take that. Fuck it. Okay. It's live TV, mate. We're doing it live. Fuck it. Oh god, who's the guy? What's his name? Fucking Fox News guy.
I wouldn't know that.
Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly, like famous Fox News arsehole. Stephen Colbert became famous for basically doing a parody of Bill O'Reilly, but as the Colbert Report. But Bill O'Reilly had this famous bit. It was like an off take. He didn't think he was on camera, and he was meant to just record like a promo for something, and he just can't get the words right, and is just such an asshole to everybody, and ends up just going, "Fuck it, we're not recording it." He just goes, "Fuck it, we're doing it live." I said, "We're doing it fucking live. We're doing it fucking live." You'd have to see it and know him to understand.
Yeah. No, I like it when breakdowns get captured. That one where Harry Redknapp gets hit by the stray ball while he's doing the Sky Sports interview. It just snaps at the player. That's why you're in the reserves. That's why you're in the fucking reserves. He's more mad that he's missed the goal and hit him than he is that he's hit him. It's the fact that the ball should have been going in the back of the net and he just lets this player have it. I can't remember which player it was. It's amazing.
Do you want to hear a story straight out of the mouth of David Bentley?
Oh, God.
Remember David Bentley?
Yeah, I remember that volley against Arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
From like the halfway line.
So David Bentley had a great season when Tottenham got into the Champions League under Redknapp. But on the last day of the season, I remember seeing this. Redknapp's giving his interview, and Bentley grabs the bucket of fucking squash or whatever they drink, and does the classic pour it over the coach after victory and all the rest. And obviously, in the moment, Harry Redknapp's just like, "Oh, you cheeky buggers," and stuff like that. But my dad interviewed David Bentley in Spain years ago after he retired. And straight afterwards, Harry Redknapp burst into the dressing room, saw him. There was like two other guys that helped, but Harry Redknapp only saw Bentley's face doing it and just said, "You are never playing for this fucking club again." And he literally chucked him into the reserves, like deliberately didn't sell him in the summer, didn't play him, and then loaned him out to the championship in January. And Bentley said it just killed all of the joy in football for him. It was just like, it was the fucking happiest moment of my career. And I basically just had my career sabotaged by a manager that I respected at the time and thought was just following in the fucking sports tradition.
I can't
And I
feel
always
bad
thought
for him
of
because it's funny.
when Redknapp became the fucking nation's favourite chap during the whole "I'm a celebrity, get me out of here," where every single person who'd never watched a fucking day of football in their life was going, "Oh, I love that Harry Redknapp." I always kind of thought that story, being like, he's a cunt for real.
I mean, who isn't, you know? And he's bankrupted every club he's ever had success at. I mean, I love Harry Redknapp. I almost met him once, but I was being way too excited and eager about it. He came into the shop I was working in. I was basically jumping up and down on the spot. He just looked at me over his glasses, put his glasses back on, and backed out the door. He's like, "I'm not dealing with this kid."
I understand. Should we start from the beginning, or shall we just do the thing so you can edit?
You know what? We haven't got a cold open to this one, so what we've got is we've got the start, the technical difficulties, and then the cold reintroduction. So let's just pick it up from Gaethje Oliveira. So yeah, striker versus grappler, but both guys can do both. Theoretically, we're really yet to see Gaethje's wrestling prowess, and I don't think Charles is going to have to work hard for the takedown with his aggressive forward style. I think the second or third leg kick he throws is going to cause some damage, but it's going to end up with him on his ass. That's my strong prediction.
The interesting thing is both of these guys are able to be very forward-thinking because Gaethje has always felt that his wrestling is good enough to keep the fight standing, so he doesn't have to be. He can be reckless and get into that pocket. And for Oliveira, his logic is that you don't want to take him down, so he can be aggressive and right up in there. Oliveira can strike, and Oliveira is very technically responsible. He's got that nice Muay Thai style, very upright, raises the knee. Gaethje's hardest weapon, the most effective weapon to land, isn't actually going to be that easy to land against a guy like Oliveira because, you know, he's going to be light on that front leg. He's going to be throwing that knee into the gut. He can fight long and he can punch long. And, you know, the real way I've looked at this, and it's such a hard fight to pick, I've changed my mind a million times. Gaethje, I feel if it's just a stand-up fight with Oliveira, I feel Gaethje wins. I just don't see a way. It's the same situation with the Poirier fight. Like, Poirier looks like he hurt him every time he landed clean. Same thing with Michael Chandler. Gaethje hits like a motherfucker as well. But if it goes to the ground, I think Oliveira subs him guaranteed. Unless Gaethje is able to very quickly scramble to his feet. You see the Khabib fight, and you just see how poor his takedown and jiu-jitsu defense was. Not takedown defense, my apologies, but his jiu-jitsu defense was once he was down on the ground. It did feel like he's a fighter that is so used to never being put in that situation that he wasn't particularly well prepared for what to do once he was there. Can he get through the whole fight without making that mistake? Because it's not just takedowns with Oliveira. He'll clinch you. He'll wrap himself around you. You know, he didn't take Dustin down in that third fight. He just jumped on his back. That's a different kind of thing to have to deal with. And I also feel like Gaethje's not taking him as seriously as he should. You know, all this mention of now he's a quitter. You know, once a quitter, always a quitter. I believe 100% he's going to break him. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. It's a really tough fight to call. It's about as exciting as it could get. Both guys have the ability to win. I just feel like Gaethje, like Oliveira's got more ways to win. Gaethje has one way to win. And that is why, at the absolute death, I have picked Charles Oliveira to win by KO.
You go in KO, and I mean slow, both going sub on this one. It's not a bad pick. You know, Gaethje's defense on the feet plus Oliveira's Muay Thai striking. It's not ridiculous. It's bold. It's not ridiculous. Both guys are very hittable, but especially Justin. Shit. The only thing I know for sure is it's going to be an exciting fight. It's going to be an
Yeah,
absolute classic. There's no way it's
it's not
not.
going to decision. There
I
is
agree. Yeah.
no way this fight goes to decision. And I know that when we say that, it curses the fight. But this is the one that I'm like, nope, doesn't matter. Does
Yeah.
not make a lick of
The,
difference.
these boys both push the pace, and they can both go 5 rounds. I mean, I'm more confident in Justin's ability to go 5 rounds deep at an insane pace. I really feel like even at his peak now, Charlie Olives has got 3 rounds where it's like insane, and then 2 rounds where he's still very dangerous and can absolutely finish you any way he wants. Jesus
And
Christ, there's no way they get to the end. They're both just way too instinctive as a finisher. Forward thinking. I love that we're carrying on with Sly's forward thinking.
yeah, yeah. And listen, the other thing I thought, and this was a big key factor as well, is I picked against Oliveira in the Kevin Lee fight. I picked against Oliveira in the Tony Ferguson fight. I picked against Oliveira in. No, I didn't pick against Oliveira in the Michael Chandler fight. I actually backed him in that fight. But I picked against him in the Poirier fight. And you get to a certain point, and it's just like, this guy is pulling it off more often than he's not. And I can't ignore that. I can't. And I love Gaethje. But you can't delete, however exciting and fantastic he is, you can't delete the Alvarez, the Poirier fights from your mind. You can't help but look at the Tony Ferguson situation, and we'll talk about Tony Ferguson data down on the picks, and how at the end of the day, he apparently trained 6 times in total for the Gaethje fight. Total. And and then you see what happens with Khabib. Michael Chandler fight's legit. The Michael Chandler fight is legit. But even by Michael Chandler's own mouth, he did not fight that fight to win. He fought that fight to have one of the most glorious and spectacular brawls in UFC history. And he succeeded in that. But there were moments in that 3rd round where there was a moment where he got punched and stopped, kept walking forward, pointing at the commentary booth, talking to them while Gaethje was punching him in the face. That is not really the behavior of a man who is still fighting to win a fight that was 1-1 on the scorecards at that point. Let's be honest.
No, but also he's a born blagger. He's got a silver tongue. He wishes he could go more than 1 round at an elite level, but it's just not what his body type dictates. Still, the point rings true, right? Whatever the circumstances, Justin Gaethje is capable of, he's a gamer. He will fight to your level. It doesn't matter how good you are, he will make it a close fight. Eddie Alvarez fight, goddamn close fight. Poirier fight, close fight. Ferguson fight, close fight. Fucking the Michael Johnson fight. Michael Johnson had Gaethje in trouble at one point there, Just lots and lots of close fights. It's his style. He is the human car crash. Didn't work against Khabib. And it's going to be a little more successful against Charlie Olives. But still, I feel he's not going to have to eat too many leg kicks, because I feel like every leg kick, he's either going to tag Gaethje hard with a check hook, or he's just going to find a way, if he can't catch it, to at least get him into a position where he's threatening takedowns. Or clinch work, which can inevitably lead to a takedown. He's not going to be able to stay on his feet in any round. However long it goes, Charles is getting him down every round. I guarantee
I disagree with that.
What
Gaethje's
makes
got
you believe Gaethje can stay on his feet, though?
It's not that I think it's going to be a case of just every time Charles goes for a takedown, he's going to get it. Charles's wrestling is not his strongest point. It's the fact that he has so many different creative ways to initiate a jiu-jitsu situation in the scramble. He can do it just by getting close and in distance. And it's not, for me, a case of every single round that's going to be the pace. It's more a case of he only has to do it once. And I think once he gets it, he will sub or tap or knock out or TKO Gaethje. And what I think is more likely to happen is that I think Gaethje will very possibly win round 1. I don't think he'll finish Charlie Olives. I think round 2, Oliveira is going to come back, land his own stuff, maybe find a way to get it to fight to the ground. And even if he doesn't tap him, it's going to be the same thing with Poirier, where just being in that situation and realizing how fucked you are once you're there will then change the dynamic of the fight moving forward.
Yeah, I agree on that bit. Like, Charles is going to be doing all of the psychological damage in this fight. However, I think Gaethje can cause some damage with that leg kick, with the short shots.
Only factor I will mention, because we are now, at time of recording, 7 minutes away from the weigh-in time finishing.
Oh.
No, from the weigh-ins finishing. And I need to double check if Oliveira has made the scales.
I'm going to fill with dead air with suspenseful thoughts.
I'm looking. So MMA Fighting has not updating it yet. I'm now looking at MMA Junkie. They do not have an entry yet for Charles Oliveira. He is currently, as I look through, I believe he is the only fighter. Oh no, there's one other fighter who hasn't weighed in yet. He's one of the last 2 fighters, and we're at 6 minutes before its point. So there is a possibility he's had a bad weight cut. I am not going to let that affect my pick, but that is a factor to consider for Justin Gaethje. And he has only got 6 minutes to make that weight and to be on weight, or he's not fighting for his belt.
Or he's got 6 minutes to buy another hour. So,
or 6 minutes to buy another hour. That is true. That is true. But it is something to consider because he's been looking a lot larger, as I noticed in the countdowns, as pointed out by Laura Sanko. So it looks like he's put some extra weight on. It might be that that weight isn't coming off as quickly as he was hoping.
Yeah. And, it's championship weight. It's, he's been doing that for a little bit now, but it might just be a case that he's only half a pound over and they want to have the full hour extra. Maybe they're just waiting to come in, be over, go cut the rest, be done.
This is a factor. Either way, it's Sly going for sub, Josh going for sub, myself going for a knockout, all in favour of the champion Charles Oliveira. Sly is not here, but we do have his picks. He is still competing in the show. I can also announce that he did win last week's picks. So,
damn,
suck it. But we'll adjust the board. That's, I believe, him now on 2.5. Josh is still on 3.5. 3.5. And I am on 1. So we will see if we can get a little table up, maybe for next week or something like that. I don't want to put too much on Josh's shoulders.
I'm not doing anything like that tonight, but for next week.
Late in the week. Next week. Let's talk about the next title fight, moving things along. The return of Rose, favourite of the show, one of my top 3 favourite fighters in the UFC. Rematch against Carla Esparza. They fought back in 2014. It was for the first strawweight title, straight off the Ultimate Fighter. She was young. She had her moments in that. She ultimately lost. Carla, more experienced, more seasoned at the time. Obviously, we know what happened after that. Joanna came in, dominated the division until Rose was finally ready to take her moment. And then we've seen a little bit of back and forth, but Rose has reestablished herself as the dominant champion, beating twice Zhang Weili, beating twice Joanna, avenging her loss to Andrade, and now she's got an opportunity to avenge her loss in her first title opportunity. Carla Esparza, 5 wins on the bounce, amazingly pulled herself back in after looking like title picture was just never going to be in her future anymore. She brings a very heavy wrestling style, which is not something a lot of girls have in the strawweight division, and she's dangerous. Josh, what's your thoughts on this rematch?
This is one of those fights where you can't really take any of the knowledge from the first meeting. One of those rematches, sorry. Both women have improved leaps and bounds since the first meeting. The inaugural strawweight championship in the UFC. I mean, I don't think there's that many people that are genuinely backing the Cookie Monster in this one. I think everyone views Esparza as a worthy challenger, but very much one of the ones they had to get out of the way before you get Wei Li, Joanna, Andrade back in the mix. This is a very exciting division, very deep top 15. Carla Esparza has an absolute mountain to climb, in my opinion, Matt. I don't think her wrestling is on the same level as Rose's jiu-jitsu these days. Obviously, I think Rose is just far and away a superior fighter on the feet. Honestly, superior corner too. Trevor Whitman, Pat Barry, that's one hell of a team. Do you think this one's close, Matt? Have you got any reasons to pull for the Cookie Monster here?
Listen, I think Esparza presents a problem because one thing about Rose's reign is she hasn't had to deal with somebody who's got wrestling as their primary base. The difficulty, I think, for Esparza is that she's not really a finisher. If you take the Yan Xiaonan finish out, which was excellent, but I think that was more inexperience on Yan. She'd never dealt with that before. Just got caught in a horrible position, couldn't get out, and got beaten up. If you look at the other fights, you don't see damage. And this is an issue for me because you also don't see 5-round fights. So I've got so many questions because even in her Carla Esparza's 2 previous title fights, which of course were 5-rounders, she never went past the 3rd round in either of those matchups. So I don't have an indication of how she's going to be able to do. Her style is very energy consumption. It's exhausting doing what she does. I don't think she's going to really be able to take advantage, even if she gets a takedown and finish the fight. And she's dealing with somebody who's got excellent jiu-jitsu in all positions. Off her back, it's very strong. It's very hard to take down. It's very fast. It's lethal on the feet. It's taller. It's rangier. Fights longer. Has got a nasty finishing mentality in this division. I mean, obviously she's had her decisions, but she's also finished a lot of the girls she's fought in the top 10, Rose. And I just don't see Carla Esparza doing it for 5 rounds. Maybe she lands a takedown. Maybe she gets some good cop control in one of the early rounds. But, even on a 5-fight win streak, the Marina Rodriguez fight, I thought was that a draw or was that a win? I think it was a win for Carla Esparza, but I thought it could have been a draw. Her fight
I'm remembering it as a draw, but let me check.
Her fight against Alexa Grasso, that was a draw, fucking hands down. Alexa Grasso beat the living shit out of her in the 3rd round. Literally hyperextended her arm, Tony Ferguson style, with an armbar in that same round. Like, it was bullshit to only give it as a 10-9. And this seems to be a bit of a commonality, is she can start strong or she can start badly and finish strong. But I've never really seen her spend 3 rounds implementing her style. And she's got to do it for 5 against somebody that can finish the fight in a variety of different positions. It's Rose for me. Like, could she fuck up? Yeah. Could she lose this? Yeah. It's not somebody she's had to deal with apart from the last time she lost. But Rose is as good as it gets, man. I'm going Rose by knockout.
I was thinking Rose by knockout, but ultimately I'm gonna go Rose by sub. Actually, do you know what? Because I've already sent my picks into the group chat. Let me confirm that's what I wrote. Yeah, that is what I wrote. It'd be embarrassing to have to redo that because I'm very lazy. Nama Yunus sub. What's Sly saying?
Sly is saying Nama Yunus by. Sorry, we've got the picks in the split picks one, not the other one. Sly saying Rose by sub as well. So you guys aligned on that one.
Again.
I know. Moving off the title fights to our featured fight. 2 guys, both absolute fan favourites. Both bring it every time. Both on a bit of a rocky road, but have really only lost to the best fighters in the division. It's Michael Chandler against Tony Ferguson, and I hate this fight. This fight was perfect as Michael Chandler's debut fight in the UFC. Now it feels like the loser of this fight is basically forever out of this elite top 5 155 picture. And I don't like that because I think Michael Chandler is going to win this reasonably easily. And that saddens me greatly.
Easily.
It's a bad style matchup for Tony, man. He gets hit. Chandler hits fucking hard. Chandler's going to take him down. If it was 5 rounds, I could believe that that would slow Michael Chandler's maybe aggressiveness down early. You definitely think that you can at least get 3 rounds if you can survive that early onslaught of a pretty tired guy, and then you can take advantage. But, you know, he didn't get subbed by Oliveira on the ground in that first round. And he put himself, and he gave up his back to get up and still survived that. Yes, he got knocked out, but he was being a bit careless. He could smell blood in the water, and he got caught with a perfect left hook. I just don't think Tony's got it anymore. Not at that elite level. I want to be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Well, no, you've already said it. It's a bad style matchup, and the truth is, since like the mythical T-Ferg was slain, that monster no longer exists. Be it knee injuries, age, overtraining, whatever. All the fights in the top 5 are bad style matchups for Tony. There's nothing favourable there, and Jesus, yeah. If he only trained 6 times before the Gaethje fight, it's because he's forever overtraining and he came back from the knee injury too quick and he's old as fuck and, you know, I know what you're saying. Whoever loses this is essentially going to crash out of relevancy. There's no more red panty nights coming.
For both guys, because if Michael Chandler loses this, then everyone's going to say you fought a Dan Hooker off his night in bad circumstances for him, got a lucky knockout, and since then you haven't been UFC level.
Yeah, which would be stupid because, like you say, he did have Charles in trouble. It did look like he was going to become very much in the footsteps of Eddie Alvarez, a dual Bellator and UFC champ at lightweight. It essentially was kind of a close fight. The Gaethje fight, he fucking let that one get away from him early, I guess. You know, he does gas after the first round. Still, 1-4, or 1-3 in your first 4 UFC fights. People are going to draw comparisons to people like Ben Askren. You know, it's a bad look. He would have a legit shot at bouncing back, I feel, and he wouldn't be getting cut. I don't know how many fights he's got left in his contract. He'd be looking at a pay cut, but that's it. Worst case scenario.
Dana White's already said neither guy's getting cut. This isn't a retirement fight.
No, but I think this will be Tony Ferguson's last fight against a ranked fighter. And I think that it's the position's merited. Those are the stakes for a reason. And it's not because Tony Ferguson did anything wrong. Just he got old, you know? Happens to everyone.
It's a safety issue more than anything. Once you don't think a guy can compete with the best, it is not safe for him to be put out because you will get really, really hurt.
Yeah.
Is what it is. So I'm guessing that, well, I know I'm going Chandler by decision. I believe Sly is going Chandler by KO. And your pick, if you'd
I was tempted to go by KO, but I just got too much respect for Tony. So, yeah, I'm going Chandler by decision.
I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Rest of the card is a fucking Legends rollout. It's like a Legends rollout mixed in with like a 2-man enter, 1-man leave dynamic, because certainly for the first fight on the main card, that's the case. But looking at this fight, second fight up, we've got the legend Shogun Hua, who has already retired once after losing to Paul Craig, is back again with his classic, I've got 2 fights left in me, I'm going to retire. He's been saying that for 10 fights now. He's taken on OSP. It's a rematch. UFC do not like OSP, so you got to think he's out if he loses. Shogun Hua is definitely out if he loses. Josh, what's your thoughts on this one? I was surprised. This was not what I was expecting to see on the card when it got announced.
Yeah, I mean, OSP thrives against over aggressive fighters making schoolboy errors. Mauricio Hua is not that. In my head, this is quite a close fight. Hua's tough. Hua's got some heavy fucking hands. There's no one in this weight class with as much experience, knowledge, and even if he might have been training wrong his entire career, I think it's very much just like that's how everyone else wanted to do it, and he didn't want to ruin everyone else's party. But essentially, for a shooter box fighter, smart as hell. I would love to pick Shogun in this one. I just OSP can't finish him. He can't finish him, but he will fucking push him. I think it'll be a close 3-round fight. I don't know how fun it will be for kind of the casuals, but if you love MMA, it's going to be enough to see Shogun Hua one more time. OSP's no bum, most Von Flue chokes in the game.
I see this so differently. I think that Shogun Hua is done. His foot was out the door. He's been persuaded to come back for one more. OSP's not looked good, but he's still been fighting. And he's younger.
At heavyweight, though.
He's still been fighting, man. And I just don't think Hua's got it anymore. Now, people have said that for a while, and then he'll do something like knock out Tyson Pedro. So you really do never know, but I'd be really surprised. I'm going OSP. I'm pretty sure I said by knockout. Let me double check. Yeah, I'm saying OSP by KO. I think
you're wrong, but
he hits hard, man. OSP's a good athlete who has not got the chin. They've already fought once, and OSP knocked him out in the first round, and that was with a fresher, younger Shogun.
Yeah, it was also an OSP that was kind of on his game.
True.
To be honest, ever since that interim title fight with John Jones, I've just kind of seen this sort of reasonably steady decline. Aside from when people just very foolishly give up that Von Flue choke to him, which no one should ever get Von Flued by OSP ever again. And I've been saying that since the first one, and here we are. Definitely not happening with Hua, but I think OSP is going to have a low volume decision. I reckon about 50 significant strikes apiece, nothing too fancy. Probably most of it in the first round.
And Sylvester is going Shogun by KO. So he is definitely believing that the old man's got something left in him. Talking about old men, Joe Lozon, Cowboy Cerrone. It's confirmed. Loser goes home forever. Winner gets another run. Joe Lozon hasn't fought in close to 3 years. Cerrone probably wishes he hasn't fought the last 3 years, judging by the way that the results have gone. But he's been fighting killers in the division. It's at 155. This makes a big difference. Cerrone is not a 170er. And I think these 170-pounders have fucked him up a little bit. Joe Lozon hasn't fought in a while. He was looking chinny and like he was past it in 2018. And they're rolling him out one more time. I have picked Joe Lozon. And I don't feel bad about it. Here's my logic. Joe Lozon is going to come out there like a fucking bat out of hell. We know Cowboy doesn't start well. We know that he's chinny at 170. I don't think the weight cut's going to help. And even though I think Cowboy is the better fighter, and 4 years ago would have survived that and then schooled Lozon for 2 rounds, I think Lozon's going to get him finished in round 1. I'm saying Lozon by K motherfucking O.
Well, that bit makes sense. It's been a while since he did get a submission win. I think it's more like he's going to come out like a bat out of hell, land a few shots, get him back up against the cage, and then pull guard or something silly like that. I just think Cerrone, he's good enough where Joe's good on the ground, on the map. And I think that any time the Joe's trying to work from his guard, Cerrone's going to have a bit of an advantage just with the size and how aggressive he can be from the top. I don't think Cerrone can finish him. And I don't see Cerrone getting finished either in this one. I'm saying Cerrone by decision. I hope it's going to be a good fight. I really don't know, to be honest. These guys are no spring chickens. But as a Legends fight, it is pretty fucking cool. Like, I thought it was cool when we had, like, J-Lo against Sanchez. Or against Jim Miller. Now we get the Cerrone fight too, so... Just good
Joe
times
Lawson
around.
wins, he says, if Joe Lawson wins this, he says he wants Jim Miller for the third time.
I'd be happy with that. That would bring a smile to my face.
What do you think about people saying that both guys should retire after this one?
I think people sometimes know what they're talking about. Yeah. I don't think the majority of their income is coming from winning fights anymore.
True.
And, like, neither guy is going to be fighting for a title ever again. How much legacy do you need? How much damage do you need to take? Yeah. People are bang on the fucking money there. This fight shouldn't really be happening. But because they're fighting each other, I guess the little kid in me is just really excited for it. So I'll allow it on a moral level. Why not?
Well, 99 bonuses between all the fighters on this main card. Absolutely stunning. You've got, I think, first, second, and third place, or joint third, or something like that, in submission wins in the UFC, or finishes in the UFC. It's
got to be finishes because I think like Oliveira obviously is number one for submissions, but I don't think anyone else on the list is going to crack the top 5.
No, it's finishes. It's finishes, I think, because Lozon's not that far down on the list himself. You know, Cerrone used to be the leader in finishers.
Yep.
Oliveira's taking it on, and Justin Gaethje has pretty much had a bonus in every single fight he's ever had.
Yeah.
It's an exciting, action-packed card. We are not done, though, because there's 10 prelims on this card. It's starting at 11:30 on Saturday. It's fucking fantastic. I was going to have to go out and do something fun. Fuck that. Stay at home and watch 15
Stop jinxing it. The MMA gods are thirsty. You know how they do us.
This is true, but we're going to move through these at a slightly more brisk pace as I bring the fights up on my phone.
I'll give you a hand. I believe we're starting off top of the prelims as the welterweight fight. Chaos against Randy Brown.
Great fight. Both guys looking really good. Chaos obviously had that slip up against Michel Pereira, where I think the style just really threw him off. Aside from that, he has looked really lethal. Knockouts against people like Al Hassan and Miguel Baeza stand out, and the guy is super aggressive. Randy Brown, big improvements, starting to get a chip on his shoulder, showing that he can fight through adversity. Was it Cowboy Oliveira that he beat with the standing one-armed rear naked choke?
Oh shit! Let me look it up. To us, I thought you were going to bring up the Nico Price fight.
The Nico Price fight is
getting finished with hammer fist from the bottom. That one wasn't great. But you know, Randy Brown is criminally underrated. That being said, I don't think he's anywhere near good enough to beat Chaos.
Chaos is a bit of a beast. I've gone Chaos myself. It's
Chaos
aggression,
has been
man.
fighting smarter. He's not going to give up anything really stupid or cheap. He's not going to gas early on in the first or the second. I think Rude Boy's going to eat some shit.
He's sparring and training every day with Jamal Hill, Joaquin Buckley. He's got a good team around him, and they're focusing a natural aggression and willingness to engage in the pocket. Randy Brown fights really long and really smart, but he will get hit. I think it's not going to be dissimilar from when he fought Vicente Luque, and just a punch is going to get through. Chaos is too forward-thinking, and he'll throw in combination. Randy Brown might be able to dodge and stay out the way of the first one, but one of those swinging hooks is going to land, and it's going to land nasty. I think I said KO. I'm going to double-check on my list. I'm pretty sure I said KO. Yep, Chaos by KO.
I've got to imagine Sly's going the same way, right?
Yeah, he's pretty much exactly the same.
Then we might as well carpool, fellas, because we're all going the same way. Chaos by
The
chaos.
line, the line has been used.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, the returning, aging, eternal Francisco Ronaldo taking on England's own Danny Roberts. Um, Ronaldo's made a bit of a career recently of just beating off these younger guys trying to come through. But Danny
Yeah.
Roberts is not one of those younger guys, man. 34 years old. He's been in the UFC for a while. It's been a bit of a pause, but he's had injuries. Pandemic, I think, affected things as well. It wasn't looking too bad before this layoff. And I think this is the guy that's just going to make Ronaldo look like he's starting to age a little bit. I think Danny Roberts gets this.
Fair enough, man. I gotta be honest. I really like Francisco Trinaldo a lot more at welterweight. I think at 170, not having to cut the weight makes a big difference for him. And Hot Chocolate, you know, he seems to get so far in the UFC and he comes a little undone. I remember the verbal submission on that armbar. Jesus, who was that against now? I wish Sly was here. Anyway, my point is, sometimes Danny doesn't know how to win against guys that really want it, against guys that really know how to make it difficult for you. And I think Trinaldo is just going to get the better of him on this one. I don't think Trinaldo is going to get the finish. I'm saying Francisco by decision. Safe bet, easy money, I reckon. Sorry, I feel really bad picking against Hot Chocolate. I'm really sorry, Danny.
You're aligning with Sly. He's thought exactly the same thing.
Oh, no.
Trinaldo by decision. I am going a little differently. Macy Chison taking on Norma Dumont. Featherweight matchup, second featherweight fight for Macy Chison. Norma Dumont, this is her stomping ground. She seems determined to be the only featherweight left, apart from Nunes, which would basically guarantee her a title shot. And this is an awkward one because before I saw the Pennington fight, I would have thought Chison maybe has this. But Norma Dumont scares me. And she's not as long, but she's powerful. She's got good boxing. Again, this is a hard one to call. I'm going Norma Dumont in this one by decision. I think she's more established at the weight class. I think she's more used to being at that weight. And Chison, I still think, is going to have a bit of a surprise. She fought a bantamweight who cut less weight and fought her at featherweight. In Norma Dumont, she's going to be fighting a genuine featherweight.
Yeah, and again, same as I felt for the Rocky fight, Macy does not fight well going backwards. As soon as she starts getting physically overwhelmed and, you know, forced to kind of fight off the back foot, it's all going to go to shit. I'm picking Norma as well by decision. Don't tell me Sly went the same.
Nah, Sly went for Chison. He went for Chison by decision. Doing his own thing, Sly. Doing his own thing. Annoyingly, it works out for him more often than not.
Yeah, I know. I want so badly to say he's just making mistakes. This is always going to bite him in the arse. He's only 1 point behind me now. It's very frustrating.
He's ahead of me, which is terrifying. Next up, Brandon Royval taking on Matt Schnell. This is a really fun flyweight matchup. Both guys super exciting. But for me, Royval just has that X factor. And I'm backing Royval. I believe I said by submission. I think he's going to catch him.
Do you know what? I've gone back and forth so many times on how Matt's going to lose this fight. It's really interesting. You've got one guy who fights very intelligently, tries not to put himself in too much danger, and kind of have a healthy risk-reward ratio in his style in Matt Schnell. And Brandon Royval, who takes kind of the unorthodox approach of Tim Elliott and makes it look a lot more effective and pretty, although he has had a bit of a rough time of it recently. I think Royval is just going to cause so much damage. Matt has this kind of approach where you think if you were a little faster, a little younger, a little sharper, a little stronger, you would be fucking running through people. But he just always kind of gets caught. And Brandon Royval can really catch you. Submission's a good shout. I was thinking knockout's very plausible in this one. In the end, I'm hedging my bets. I'm going to say decision. I've got enough respect for Matt that I think he might be able to get through to the end just because he'll be able to cause Brandon some problems as well. Ultimately, though, Raw Dog's getting his hand raised. Brandon Royval by decision. I fucking love this kid.
Sly is also going Royval by decision. Should be a good matchup either way. Early prelims, we've got 6 bloody fights to do, so we're just going to read them off, say our picks, shoot through them. Blago Ivanov taking on Marcos Rogerio de Lima. I've gone Ivanov, and I've said decision.
Snap, Ivanov decision. By the way, I think this will be a fun fight.
Yeah, should be good. Nice to see him back. Sly is going Lima by KO. Andre Fiallo versus Cameron Van Camp. Closest thing for me we've got to a lock of the week, really. Fiallo looks awesome against Beza. He's taken on this guy short notice, not that long after his last fight, coming off the Contender Series, but he'd be well beaten. He'd be a good fighter if he gets the better of Fiallo with confidence. I've said Fiallo KO.
Oh shit, yeah, same. Fiallo KO.
Sly has also said Fiallo KO, so we're all carpooling on that one as well. Tracy Cortez is back. This girl needs to fight a hell of a lot more because she's entertaining as fuck when she does. Taking on the undefeated Melissa Gatto. Has looked good, but I'm going to be honest, not blown away. I'm saying Cortez by decision.
Shit, Cortez decision as well.
Cortez decision by Sly as well. Jesus Christ, we're really lining up on these early ones. Debutant Clayton Rodriguez taking on CJ Vergara. I have gone for Rodriguez by decision.
Alright, I've gone Rodriguez, but I've gone sub.
Strong. Sly has, I'm assuming, gone for KR as well because he's put KR KO. I think he just thought that looks cool.
Dick. Alright, same fight, different methods.
Yeah.
Some reasons to be competitive on the prelims.
Exactly. Ariane Carnelosi, monster of a woman at strawweight, taking on Lupita Godinez, somebody that has impressed me, but also had her slip-ups in the UFC. Carnelosi's a beast. I actually put Godinez, but I would like to formally change that to Carnelosi because I saw her at the weigh-ins and she scares me. So I'm going to say Carnelosi by decision and write a quick correction.
Yeah. Alright. Has Lupi Hodinez actually lost at strawweight in the UFC? Or just the flyweight fight like a week after her previous fight?
I think she's lost 2 in the UFC, I think. She's won 2 and lost 2, I believe. And I think her first loss was at strawweight.
Alright. Either way, I really like her at strawweight. I love what she tried to do at flyweight. I think it's a close fight. I'm going with Lupi because I love her heart, I love her attitude. I'm going to go Hodinez by decision.
Sly joins you on that Hodinez by decision as well. So you guys are basically pretty much snap for snap on these prelims. It's kicking off the card. Journey Newson taking on Fernie Garcia. I've broken my rule and I am going Fernie by KO, even though I don't know that much about him. I'm just hearing good things.
I like Newson. I believe he was also one of the other fighters that hasn't weighed in yet. Doesn't bode well. I'd already thought maybe Garcia edges this one. Garcia decision.
Yeah, and Sly went for Garcia by decision as well. The main one for me is I remember being really impressed with Journey Newson, but I can't remember who he fought last. But the knockout just screamed bad weight cut, poor conditioning.
It was a little while ago. He had that overhand knockout against someone decent, but it got overturned for marijuana, which is like,
right.
Of all the things to fail for.
But his last knockout, I just remember he got hit with one punch, and it was one of those like delayed. It felt like the Rob Font, where like the brain just doesn't have enough in it to connect, and that worries me. Fucking stacked card, man. Loads of good fights. Really hard to do picks for.
Yeah, incoming. Oliveira's only half a pound over, 1 hour to make weight. It's basically the best case of the bad scenarios. This is the best of the bad bunch.
It's a worry for conditioning, though, man. I'll tell you that. It's a worry for conditioning.
Yeah, but I don't think he ever had the advantage going over 5 rounds. I believe he finishes him inside 3. I don't think Gaethje can push the pace on Oliveira without getting caught in something. As soon as he gets his hips within half a yard of Oliveira, he's finding a way to take him down. And that's just how Justin fights.
It's happening. It's happening. I'm officially making a correction. My second correction of the pick show. But with new information, I am switching my pick to Gaethje by KO. Bad weight cut. That's it. That's it. He's not going to survive that first round. I'm switching everything around. I'm pulling a full audible at the death. At the death.
I don't know. I haven't seen the actual the weigh-in. I'm just looking at the number. It could just be they just want to take time cutting that last half pound. I don't know.
Still leaves him less time before the fight, and it suggests a worry. We will see. That's changed everything for me, because it makes me wonder if he's going to survive that first round of pressure from Gaethje that you know is coming.
Oh, and I don't know if the fight's still going ahead, but I haven't got any scale weight for Newson yet, and nothing about missing weight and extending time.
We're half an hour over the allowed. You know, it's if you haven't weighed in by now, you're not weighing in.
Yeah, unless who was that fighter last month?
Fights.
Away with one. Yeah, hey, 14 so far. Jinx nothing.
14 so far. Touch wood. Let's hope we keep our main events. Let's hope Oliveira does actually make the scale. Doesn't lose his belt that way. That would be tragic. Guys, if you're not watching this card, you are missing out. If you haven't or didn't watch Bellator or PFL, it is already too late, because this will likely air after they have gone on. So we hope that you watched them, and we hope that you enjoyed them. And we apologize for the lateness of this. We have been trying to improve the product, and this has dealt with us meeting unexpected technical difficulties that we're trying very hard to fix. But we don't want to take a step backwards to go forwards, and we don't want to release a shit show with shit audio. So we waited until we could get some of this stuff fixed. Hopefully it is fixed, and it means that we can keep producing a great product for you guys or make the product better. And we have got big plans for this. So stick with us. We hope you enjoy the fights, as always. And by Dave, by Laura, by Trifo. Like and subscribe, please.
If you are watching this as it premieres, PFL is actually starting. So just go watch PFL. You've definitely missed Bellator. All right, bye Laurie. Bye Dave. Take it easy, guys. We'll catch you next week.